Alright guys, welcome back. So you can see from the last video, we pretty much bounced exactly at the 365-day rolling VWAP plus the weekly trend, putting in an 8% move before being capped by the 107.5k level, which I discussed at length in the last video. We do have CPI and PPI coming up this week in a few days, so we are potentially seeing some de-risking into that in line with hitting that key level there. I'm going to discuss where we can look for further downside if we do get it, and also sort of local intraday price action on sort of levels to play for the upside scenario as well. But before I get into that, please like, subscribe to the video, and we can jump into it. All right, first up, BTC. I always like to start on the high time frame view. You can see we did indeed get a very nice bounce directly at that 365-day rolling VWAP. And you can also see we yet again did not close a weekly body under the weekly noodle, the weekly trend. We have not done so since 2023 on either of these indicators. So this is my bullish high time frame line in the sand. And simply all I'm looking for from a spot swing perspective is for these things to hold. If we start to close below either of these, I'll start to consider the trend has shifted quite majorly, and we need to look for further downside on things. Potentially that range low I discussed last time at around 78k down to 74k, give or take. But it's neither here or there just yet. Now, if we just look at this for what it is, you can see where we rejected from. Pretty simple support resistance flip level there. Came up and you can see this wick rejected clean at it. So the 107.5k level, we discussed the importance of it. It was a 3-week composite of value area here. Basically, this is 3 weeks of price action. Price was just bracketing in between these points. We discussed this at length in one of the prior videos, how it's just easy setups to take longs and shorts at either side of the extreme. Now you can see that was finally lost when we started to break below and close below it here in this cluster before marking down and then forming a new composite here, forming new value. So what I was looking for in the last stream with you guys was a move up into the underside of that value area composite. And you can see what happened is we came up, we basically formed Monday's range over here. We wicked clean into that level, exactly bang on that level before rejecting. So if we go down to a lower time frame here, I actually took a short on this in the Mars High Club. If you're in there, if you're not, link in the description, you want to check that out. That is our Discord group. But basically what I was looking for was it was actually on the 30-minute time frame, was simply just to get back below the Monday high after tagging into that 107.5k level. You can see we did that. We came up, we tried to get back above, we tried to accept above it, we just kept getting smacked down, and that was a trigger to short. And basically my target was the Monday low, and then this area down here in the highlighted box. It's actually a 4-hour FVG. I shared this on Twitter yesterday when it was trading up here somewhere, so follow my Twitter if you want quicker insights on these things, and I'm not recording videos. The link's in the description below. But you can see like pretty clean, right? So we marked out that 3-week composite up here, and then we lost that, and then basically we formed a 5-day composite down here. So this is 5 days of value. I usually mark this out in a TPO chart, but I'm just showing with the fixed range volume profile today. You can get that tool over here. It's free in TradingView. It's called the fixed range volume profile down in the volume-based section of projection tools. So yeah, what we're doing right now, we came down into that level I was discussing. It was a 4-hour FVG down here. It also lines up with the previous week's VWAP, but it also lines up with the value area high of this 5-day composite. So if we switch to a more granular chart here, you can see how clean these levels are. So basically this will probably get a bit heady because of the amount of levels on the screen, but I'll try to do my best explaining it to you guys. 3-week composite, value area low up here, 107.5k. Tagged that, bang on, came down under the Monday high, could not get back above it. 2-3 attempts, accepted back below, that was a trigger to short, stop above these highs here. Came back down, we went straight under previous week's value area high here on the VWAP. And you can see the attempts to get back above it. So if I switch to VWAP for a sec, go to the weekly chart. But you can see this was the previous week's value right here. And that's pretty much what you were seeing in the chart just then. We were trying to get above it, this pink line, previous week's value area high, just could not do it, and then rejected again. Once we basically closed below this low here on the 30-minute time frame, that was another trigger that the market structure had shifted, and that could have been another short trigger on that candle close with a stop above these local highs here. So it's been pretty clean to trade so far. I took a bunch of profit the Monday low, that was the first rotation, and then I'm still holding the remainder of that profit just down here. Now if we start accepting above this 5-day value area high, which I just marked out in the other chart, then I'll probably take profit on this, because I think if we start accepting above that, we're probably looking at a move back into Monday's low around 104.250. We start accepting back in there, then our next target up is the previous week's value area high. We start flipping that, and I'm looking back up at that 3-week composite value area low again. But still early days. Obviously, we have CPI coming up on Friday. That's Australian time, so it's Thursday for the burgers. and Saturday we have PPI. So some big events there, but you know, naturally we see de-risking into those events generally a few days before. Maybe the majority of that de-risking is done, like this is happening effectively 2 days from now. I think, you know, maybe we start to see a bottom. People start to get a bit skittish from this event. These events come up, and we see that de-risking in the chart quite often. So just in terms of what I'm also seeing right now, if we go to the Kiyotaka chart, this is just showing a heat map of orders. We can see this big cluster of limit orders down here at around 100.6K. So make note of that level. If you want access to this, it's free software called Kiyotaka. I'll leave a link in the description for it. But you can see 100.6K, a big cluster of orders down there. Now they could get pulled as price gets closer. This could be some sort of inducement, spoofing it's called. But for now, I'm just going to reference that against the dynamic level on the chart. So that dynamic level on the chart, we say on weekly VWAP, it's basically down here, 100.6. This is 100.8 down here at the previous week's value area low on VWAP. We have a bunch of confluence down there in those resting limit orders and also in the previous week's value area low. Flicking back to this, you know, I think if we can't accept back above that 5-day composite and we reject here again, we can effectively go lower, targeting that area. We also have this pocket of equal lows down here, so a big cluster of liquidity. Obviously, that's why we're seeing a bunch of people leave limit orders under there, because they're expecting these this level, these equal lows, this pocket here to get run. Now, going back to this chart, you know, where can we expect price to flip bullish? Well, basically what I was looking for that flip above the previous 3-week composite value area low to get bullish, because this was a line in the sand, right? And if we actually just get rid of all of this for a sec, we can just draw this out for what it is. If we just put this simple box across here, you can see it's like a pretty clean support resistance level. Now, if I painted this on the 12-hour, we're just looking for that acceptance back up here for a rotation up. We can effectively class this as a big deviation that tagged into a high time frame weekly trend in the rolling VWAP and also the weekly noodle. So, you know, that was the first thing. If I got acceptance above there, I was planning to flip long, but the fact we rejected there was enough of a trigger to go short on the market. Now we start to get back up there, like 110K is the next line in the sand. If we do accept above 107.5, I'm looking for this supply level up here. If I just draw this across, this supply level up here around 110 to 111, that's sort of the first port of call for where I'd look for resistance to form. If we start to flip that, then I think, you know, we can mark up considerably, take out these highs, fill some of this inefficiency over here up into around 116 up to 118, give or take. Now, if we start getting above that, you can talk about all-time highs being back on the cards, but as you know, I'm just a level-to-level trader. I'm always just in the scenario of if this, then that. So ETH, I'm going to keep it very short because I want to keep the video short, but you know, you can see here we also bounced off that 365-day rolling VWAP, putting in a very nice move. I think off that bounce, we put in roughly, almost a 20% move, so that was a good one, but you know, once again, finding some local resistance up here. So what did we do? We bounced straight into the previous year's value area high. You can see the rejection there. We also had the previous week's value area high there. So pretty much, you know, once we rejected off here, sold back down, we had a second attempt. We bounced here, we had a second attempt at this, rolled over again, and you can see we got capped by the previous week's value area high here before selling off. So where's that leave us right now? Like I said, I'm just going to keep it short. We have this 4-day value area high here, so it's basically a composite like I showed you before. We start to flip this, I think we can look for a move back up to the previous week's value area high. Also have a first trouble area here, basically this support resistance line at around 3,500. Also a nice round number, so maybe we find some resistance there, come back down. But while we're just clustering down here, I think there's potential where you actually just reject off this. And the same thing as BTC, we have this pocket of equal lows over here. So maybe we come down, take those out and flush into the previous quarter's value area low for the VWAP. But you know, it's early days yet, so pretty much for me right now, I'm just looking for a break above, let's say 34.55 or a break below 34.15. And that would be a target down to 3,300s, give or take. So I'm going to leave it there. Not much else to discuss. I'm just keeping it to BC and ETH this week. I'm not really trading altcoins. I'm taking like some intraday like scam plays, you know, basically shorting stuff that's overextended as the market pukes. Took a nice trade in Uni yesterday in the Mars High Club. Once again, link in the description. You want to check that out. But other than that, just, you know, BTC is giving very clean levels to trade, as is ETH. So I think that's where my focus is right now. I also think until we start reclaiming like that 107.5K level in BTC, I don't think anything's going to really have a general lift in the market. So we're just kind of looking for outlier plays to potentially fade, or we're looking to just trade the clean levels that BTC and ETH give us. So please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll come back in a few days. And other than that, I'll leave you there. Cheers.